Fiancé's coworker sent me proofs on Facebook that she is cheating on me. September of this year would have made 10 years with GF. We have been together since college. We are the only people we have each been with for more than a few months. The only people we had each slept with. We have grown into adults together. Experienced all life has to offer both good and bad. Last March, right before Corona hit, we sold our house and moved from a small town in a rural state to the suburbs of a much more populated state outside a major city for a promotion I got. She was hesitant to go, but we wanted to have new life experiences and see what living in a more populated area had to offer, so we went for it. When COVID hit, she couldn't find a job for months. She finally did, but was not happy with it. Her mental health declined, as I was working 6 and 7 days a week as a manager for an essential business during the pandemic. At the start of November, she said she had a mental breakdown at work and couldn't go back for a while. She then left for 8 nights unannounced and did not communicate much at all. Said she was staying with her one good work friend, but there were other people with them doing pills. They were working on getting another friend into rehab. I was shocked and worried because this was not like her at all. She comes back for a week. Tries going back to work and can't even make it a full day. Quits. At this point, she's apologizing, saying she needs to focus on her mental health. She has to get through this on her own. Needs some time and space. Ends up getting her own place without telling me. Moves out most of her stuff. The whole time I'm trying to support her, be there for her, give her space, whatever she needs. She keeps apologizing. I knew something was going on. A month later, one of her former co-workers FB messages me a picture of her and this guy taking a selfie. Says she's sorry, but I needed to know. Says they have been seeing each other since September. The guy is married with kids and his wife had cancer not long ago. Says he's also a recovering obsesian who relapsed at the start of the year. She finally calls and confesses the next day after I messaged her about it. Says they're in love. Her a 28F is in love with a 50M recovering, maybe, married pills lover. He treats her right and takes care of her in ways I don't. He is almost certainly manipulating her. I think this all stems from the passing of her father in 2018 from his own cancer battle. She has never grieved and processed any of that trauma. She also has childhood trauma from her mother being pills lover. Daddy issues, lots of trauma, depression means she is an easy target for offense and manipulation. We're obviously done for good, but I wanted to share my story because I feel that it is an unusual one and I am feeling alone in a place without friends or family to talk to right now. Update. I want to thank everyone for the support and kind words as well as the guidance. Most of you, even those younger, have more relationship experience than I do. Looking back, I have been enabling her and haven't seen it for so long. Many of you said this is just as much her fault as it is his, if not more. You are right. Mental illness, anxiety, depression are all valid, but don't make her actions okay. The co-worker that contacted me said the wife and family know and are obviously very hurt. I am going to go for an STD test as well as seek therapy. Our lease was up after February, but the landlord had someone interested and said she would pay me back for the last month if I can leave, so I will be finding a new place ASAP. All password changed, joint accounts taken care of, credit was already frozen. I think I have everything covered as far as that goes. Last I knew, the not getting married question would come up. We have actually been engaged since December 2016. Her father's cancer came back early 2017 and he died March 2018. She hasn't been in any headspace since to get married. We were planning again for 2020, but we moved and then COVID hit. I had my reservations about getting married before she fixed her mental health and anxiety issues, as well as her letting her physical fitness completely go downhill as well. I know now it wasn't ever going to get fixed with us together and me there for her. This is all a valuable experience and is for the best, as most of you have said. Thank you. Update. Well, I just want to start by thanking everyone again for the replies and advice on my original post. I also want to let everyone know that you were pretty much all correct in the assumptions and how this would play out. After finding out the day after Christmas, I spent the next week going back and forth with my ex about different things, splitting phone plans, bank accounts, her taking the rest of her stuff, etc. I've wanted this to end, so I finally agreed to drive to their place so her and I could make a few calls to square some things away and I could give her the rest of her stuff and take care of this mess once and for all. I get there and she comes to my car and stands there to make the first call we need to make. Goes through the phone menus to talk to someone and hangs up. I said, "What are you doing?" She says sorry and calls again. Same thing, goes through phone menus, gets on hold this time and hangs up. I'm getting angry at this point obviously, but she throws a folded up piece of paper quickly into my car before hanging up the second time and says, "Don't touch it, read it later, okay?" I say, "Yeah, but what about your stuff and the calls we need to make and everything?" She says, "Don't worry about it," and goes back inside. So I drive away and read the note immediately, and it's basically a few sentences saying her mother will be calling me but do not text or call her for any reason, and it is very important that I do not contact her. So her mother calls me shortly after. Says my ex that morning called her and said she realized she's ducked up. The guy is up and down on pills and controlling her every move. Tracking her phone and doesn't want her to leave the house. Trying to take her money and get as much as he can from her. Ex wouldn't say anything about physical offense, but I'm sure there has been some. Her mother says she is going to get the police involved to get her out of there. My ex told her mother to ask if we could have a talk about everything. That she knows she's made a huge mistake and she will go to therapy and do anything it takes for us to get back together. She has been trying to get away from the guy just to make this call for help to her mother for a while now, and Monday was the first chance she got, she said. So like the idiot I agreed to meet her tonight in a parking lot at her friend's apartment complex. She told AP she was going there to be with her friend and he actually let her go. She was paranoid he would show up. He did not show up and we talked for an hour about how sorry she is, how she finally came out of the fog and realized how she's ruined her life and she's scared and stuck with this guy. Doesn't know what to do and has gone to the doctors and is getting therapy. Wants me to work on things with her while she goes to therapy so maybe we can get back the great life she now says she realizes we had. Scared to be alone while trying to fix herself without support. I stood firm on my boundaries with her, that this is all her fault, that she caused this, she's hurt me and I owe her nothing. It's still so hard because I want to believe her and we did have a good life for a long time. She seems sincere, of course, that she will get help and change, but I can't give in and trust her. It makes you feel like you're the bad one ending the relationship. I need to continue to respect myself and my boundaries and move on, but I also don't want her to be physically hurt. I found out my fiancé cheated on me few times. My girlfriend has a very high body count and I was aware of that before I started dating her. I had no problem with it because I didn't think it would be an issue if we got into a relationship. Pretext: I've only had 2 other relationships other than this one and have been cheated on in both. First one left me for a friend she told me not to worry about, and the other slept with 2 of her exes behind my back. I have an issue with letting my partners get away with things and not act on my emotions. Anyways, back to my current relationship. She first cheated on me when she slept with one of her guy friends that she told me not to worry about. But she felt guilty and told me immediately after and promised it would be the last time and blah blah blah. Second time was with another guy friend and this time she didn't tell me until 3 months. I caught chlamydia from one of those 2 guys. Only reason she told me about her sleeping with 2 guys is because I was in the room with her when the doctor called to tell her she tested positive. She had slept with him on Valentine's Day behind my back even though I had only spent time with her hours prior but had to work. Third time was with a guy she was seeing when we were on a break, or should I say when she was on a break and I was unaware of it happening. This guy she caught feelings for and slept with him. He blocked her on everything and she was pretty heartbroken or acted like it. Fourth time I have no idea when it happened, but I know it did because I found her body count list with names and details. I think it must have been recent because she got tested for STI randomly and said that it's recommended everyone get tested once a year. But if we're only sleeping with each other, I don't see the point. I have never slept with anyone during the relationship or come close. I once had a date with a girl when we were on an official break but didn't go anywhere. I have a few times liked other girls' Instagram posts or complimented them. She made me cut off all of my female friends and befriended the ex that cheated on me and the girl I went on a date with. She always accuses me of cheating on her at work with nurses or other co-workers, which I never have. I feel like I've had enough and I want to end things because my mental health is really struggling, but I feel manipulated on staying. She has never had a deep conversation on her cheating and always brushes it off. My lease with her ends in September and I want to end things before that. Looking for advice. I still love her and she loves me, but this is getting out of hand. Found out my wife waited for me to go to sleep and then cheated with my best friend. I threw them out of the house and they were begging for money for a taxi. We met when we were 14 when I was playing in an out-of-state baseball tournament and instantly hit it off. She helped me through my parents' divorce and I helped her through her sister's death. We talked often about how much we loved each other and have been together ever since. My friends would often say how I would lock myself in my room to talk to her instead of hanging out with them. We visited each other often until I moved to her state when I was 17. We were married in November of 2012, 4 years after I moved. Things were beyond amazing for the entirety of our relationship except for 3 months when I faced a deep depression. We were very sexual, cuddly, loving and inseparable. Most of our time was spent together. In March of this year I started to notice a lack of affection coming from her end, and I was quite jealous of my best friend, who my wife spends a lot of time with and babies. I don't drink alcohol due to having an alcoholic abusive father. They drink together nearly every night and she usually doesn't come to bed until 3 a.m. at the earliest. I usually do not go with them because I wake up rather early to work out and go to grad school. We talked about our relationship after I told her I was upset and she told me that our relationship had zero passion and that she wasn't happy with me. I asked her to work on it with me, help me make it better and that it wouldn't be easy. She agreed. Since then we have not had any sexual contact, have not cuddled, have not held hands, have had 2 dates, despite me asking at least twice a week, and have made out once. We have not gone to bed within 2 hours of each other and she has slept on the couch or in my friend's bed a few times. My birthday was last Monday and all I got was a happy birthday. No kiss, no anything. About 1 month ago she told me she doesn't think we have ever had the spark or passion she's talking about. She thought that loving me was enough to get us through anything. Despite all of that I still love her with all that I am. I cannot imagine being without her. She's been my best friend for nearly 10 years, she's been the anchor in my life for just as long. I keep racking my brain to try and understand what she means. But that spark and passion has been there for me. I don't really know what to do anymore. I love this woman. She's the most beautiful person I know, she's the driving force of why I'm in grad school, to provide for her and our, hopefully, future children. She makes me better. I want nothing more than to be with her and it seems like it's sliding out from under me. I found out on August 18th while on vacation with the 2 of them and a few other friends at a friend's beach house in Florida. My wife was drunk at 11 a.m. and left her phone in the house while she went to lunch with him and I knew I had to take my chance. After reading some crude texts and several I love yous I knew it was over. In the hope of not making a scene I called the girl whose house we were staying at and told her what was going on. I packed my stuff and was headed to my car to drive back to Texas. That's when my wife and friend came up the elevator. They saw all of my stuff and asked what was going on. I simply said I'm going home and after further questioning and some quips and laughs from them blurted out, "I know you guys are ducking." His response, "What the hell are you talking about?" "No, we're not." Her response, instant tears. She walked with me to my car and told me that it started in April, but she knew she wanted to leave me long before that. That I was a wonderful person and that I'll be happier with someone else. That something between us was missing, and that she didn't need me like she used to. All I could respond with was that she made me the happiest I'd ever been, that she was all I ever needed and that I never needed her, I wanted her. As I go back up the elevator, her new boyfriend comes down nearly in tears and asks if I want to talk to him and all I said was never again. On my way back down the elevator there at the bottom, the homeowner told them they weren't welcome, so in tears he asked me if I would give them a ride back for $300. I laughed. Told him every time you duck her I hope you know I wish you would have pulled the trigger. He had depression issues and was ready to end himself, but decided not to because I had offered him a room at my wife and I's house to get him on his feet. And because he was my best friend. I then drove 13 hours straight home, called everyone I could think if including both if their parents who I wouldn't hesitate to call mine. When I got home I was packing my things and saw my wife's journal/diary/writing notebook. At this point I don't care anymore, so I read it. She has a story written and dated March 14th about their very detailed sex life. How they would wait for me to go to sleep and duck on our couch/in my car/in my bed when I wasn't home/in his bed/in our shower/in our garage. Another poem was dated February 2014 detailing how a shadow haunted her but he was her future and her true love. That all she could taste was lips. This was all before I had ever known she was unhappy. We were still having sex regularly up until mid-March. Even had sex twice in very early April. So she was lying about all of that too. All of her friends have abandoned her. I now live with her former best friend, the owner of the beach house, and two of her other friends. They've all said their pieces to her and been blocked in the process. I filed for divorce finally on Friday. And my God, does it feel good. I am so relieved to be out of it. I was racking my brain for so long, trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. Turns out I wasn't. Now I'm recovering, slowly, I'm sure. But I now have a sudden strong interest in women. Is it just rebound? I'm not sure. I'm not pushing the issue or anything and I haven't dated in 9 years, but I'd like to. I know it's still probably too soon, but do I long for it because I've had it and it's now missing? That being said, I'm happy to be single. I enjoy just being me currently, but wouldn't mind someone. I actually kind of feel like our relationship has been over for longer than a month. I mean, I was living a lie for the last 7 months. She promised we would work on our marriage while all she was doing was working on him. But I would appreciate any advice about the future and dating after divorce. I'm kind of worried actually. I feel like no one will want me for that reason alone. How do I go about dating as a divorced 23-24-year-old when I'm ready? Is it as daunting as it seems? Found out wife has an affair, we have 9-week-old adopted baby. So, to make a long story short, my wife of almost 10 years and I adopted our daughter as an infant. From almost the first day my wife has been extremely distant from the baby. She doesn't feed her, hold her, change her, take pictures of her, etc. She didn't even tell her work friends about her. I have been providing 99% of the care for the baby. She is now 9 weeks old. I am running myself ragged. But the real problem is that I just discovered yesterday that my wife has been having a relationship with her coworker for the last 4 months. From what I can tell, the extent of her cheating seems to be primarily emotional. After a few warning signs, I broke into her email account and read dozens of email exchanges between them where they basically just talk about how perfect the other is and how they dream of running off together and be together, etc. He is married and has a kid as well. I confronted my wife about it yesterday and after initially trying to deny it all, I told her that I had forwarded the emails to myself and there was no point lying. I quoted her some choice bits, and she finally broke down and admitted to it. She claims that they haven't done anything physical beyond kissing. She doesn't know if she loves him. She may have just been doing this as a reaction to the kid thing, or maybe she does love him. She said things to him in these emails that she hasn't even said to me. She has never shared her feelings well, but in the emails to him, she pours her heart out and basically throws herself at him. Either way, she claims that she is ending it with him. She doesn't think he is going to ever leave his wife anyway. Like a fool, I have asked her to decide what she wants to do next. I still love her. She wants to take some time to figure out what she wants. She says she is either going to leave me and run off somewhere and be alone, or she will stay, and we will work it out. She claims that being with him isn't an option and that she will end it with him. But she is still going to work there and be around him and work closely with him until she can find a new job, which could take months and months. To make matters much more complicated, our daughter's finalization hearing isn't for another 2 months. So, if I am going to be able to keep her, we are going to have to live together and pretend to be a happy couple until after that hearing. Then we can file for divorce and I would get full custody. leaving me as a single, middle-aged father to a newborn girl that I love more than anything in the world. My wife says she will do what it takes to make sure that I don't lose my daughter. I'm terrified that I will lose my daughter and the judge won't let me finalize her adoption if my wife disappears on me. She would go to foster care if that happens. I'm terrified of raising her alone, too. But above everything, I know that I need her to be in my life. I've never felt love like this for anyone. Aside from my daughter, I'm broken inside. Devastated. Worried. Lonely. I feel worthless. I feel like it's my fault. I feel stupid for wanting to fix this. I always said cheating would be a deal breaker. The only thing keeping me going is that I know my daughter needs me. I don't have any friends. My wife was the only friend I had. Literally. I don't have any family either. My job is time-consuming and doesn't put me in a position to make friends. When I'm not at work, I am taking care of the baby. I know Reddit won't agree, and a huge part of me has a hard time with it, but I just want to work it out with my wife and have a happy family. She says she will only decide that if she believes that she can follow through with it. I'm not hopeful, to be honest. I want to be able to forgive and forget this and move on and figure out why it happened and fix it. I feel like I'm now destined to be alone, divorced after 10 years old, friendless, and a single father. No hope of being happy. Forever alone. No hope of my daughter having a mother. I just don't know what to do and I needed to get it off my chest. Update: first, to clarify a few points. I am a teacher, so my job is demanding and time-consuming, but I do have the ability to do a lot of it at home while I watch her. She is in a great day care from 7:30 to 4:30 each day. While she naps on my lap or in her swing, I can usually get another 2 to 3 hours of work done at night beyond the school day. At least I will not have to worry about holidays and most of the summer though. I presented my wife with a list of ultimatums. It is long, and includes everything I would need in order to make this work. Counseling, her changing jobs, his accountability, accepting the baby, and somewhat limited digital privacy are on the list among other things. She is taking time to make a decision about whether she thinks she can realistically do the things on the list. If a decision isn't made in about a week, then I think we know the decision. If we are going to work it out, then nothing with the baby will change. If not, we have agreed that divorce mediation is preferable. At that time, we will agree together that I get full custody of the baby. I honestly don't believe that she would try to get custody. I understand one adoptive mother in the comments was terribly upset about the possibility that I would lie to the courts to keep my daughter. I admittedly feel guilty about it, but I know in my heart that I will provide her an amazing home. I love her so much, and I will do whatever it takes. I've also been encouraged by everyone's comments, and now feel like I can do this with or without my wife. I know I could move on and be happy eventually without her. I do still love her and want it to work out, but I am not going to stay out of desperation. My non-negotiable list is serious. I'm also planning to attempt a few things in my area, Central PA, to make some friends, whether my wife stays or not. A lot of people asked why I don't have friends. It is because we moved here from the other side of the country. I teach in an elementary school and am the only man. Most of the women are much older or much younger, and it is hard to become true friends with the population I have to work with. Most of my after-work activities revolved around my wife or her friends. My fault, I know. This is a college town, so most of the people here are either parents or students. I've always been in between until our daughter came along. Thanks all. I'll update again in a new post once progress has been made. Right now, it is just a horrid waiting game for her to decide if she's able to do the things I would need, all of which she agrees are reasonable requests. Update. So, long story short, my wife cheated on me and moved out, leaving me with my newborn daughter. Since then, I have been raising her alone. All 5 months of her life. I'm a school teacher, so I work with kids all day and feel alone. Then I come home to my daughter, who I love with all my heart, but is only 5 months. I care for her, and then she falls asleep, and I've got hours and hours to fill. Alone. I used to like gaming, comics, TV and movies, walking, etc., but I feel my motivation waning every day. I haven't even played a game in a month. I used to love teaching, but now it just seems like work. I used to read a comic or two every day, now I'm months behind and haven't even picked up new books in over a month. I don't even scroll through the front page of Reddit. I just sit and stare at my daughter, or halfway pay attention to Netflix while I mope. Thanks to the pending divorce, I'm swamped with bills. I don't have any furniture, so I am sitting on the floor until I can afford some. My wife isn't paying any child support and I have to pay the mortgage and daycare. So I really can't even afford to go out or hire a sitter. I have no family within 1,000 miles. All of my friends have moved away years ago. I can't make new ones because I'm the only man in my school, and the women are all old or married. I don't bond well with men because I'm not a sports fan. I even got desperate enough to try dating, and went out with a great girl several times over the course of 2 weeks. Last night, she told me she isn't ready for everything that comes with me, basically my daughter. That sucked pretty bad because I felt a real connection forming. So now that I have tasted what it is like to not be lonely, I just feel even more lonely than before. Tonight it has been nearly unbearable. To make matters worse, my wife has been contacting me, telling me that she has finally realized what a huge mistake she made and wants me to at least give her a chance to win me back. I don't know what it is right here. I'm afraid that I shouldn't take her back, but that I will, just to not be lonely anymore. And yeah, I get it, it's better to be alone than with the wrong person, sounds good on paper. But 5 months of essential solitude has finally taken a toll on me, and seeing what it is like to not be lonely these last 2 weeks has really made it worse.